So today's topic, I guess we'll just get into it, is Operation Windsor, the 8th Brigade attack with attached units on Carpiquet and the airfield nearby, the adjacent airfield. So this is an interesting battle. I've been to the ground myself. I've been outside Carpiquet Airport, had a nice little, lunchtime there. You got to see as much as you can, right? Because it's still an active airport, still used. As a cargo flight, I think there's a few flights from England. Well, there was a while ago. I don't know if that's still the case, but that's still happening. If not, anyway, so you can still see the area, and some of the bunkers are still there. I'm not sure if he's watching, but I was talking with David O'Keefe just before starting that. He had been to the ground and seen the bunkers that the Germans had built and has been used as part of their defense of the area. And he said, you can still see some stuff. So I'll get to that in a bit. But what I want to start is a little differently. We're going to go a little further ahead in time than actually Windsor itself. And this is, again, kind of part of the experiment part, which I think is fun, is the historiography of this one is really, really interesting. I know most people think historiography is boring and no one wants to talk about it, but a lot of these online discussions are historiography. Woody from World War II TV does an amazing job. Sorry, again, this is live, so I'm just seeing what's going on here. To get to the UK, you have to fly to Lyon from Carpiquet. That's pretty funny. That's interesting. You got to go all the way down to go back up. I mean, I'm not surprised. I shouldn't be surprised, but Sheldrake, who I think we all know by now who that is. Anyway, we'll get to who he is and kind of what he has to do with this today in a second. So where was I? Talking about historiography. Yeah, sorry. Woody does a great job with that on World War II TV, really blending that in, talking about that in a really engaging way. I don't think the historiography is boring if it's presented in an interesting way. But I think it's essential for this particular battle, how it's presented, its place in Normandy generally, how the Canadian Army official history presented it, and everything. It's got all these big names running through it. So I'll just got some prepared notes that I'll just kind of go off of here. But of course, questions and everything, fire away, comments, and I'll probably stop in the middle and try to get back on trend here. On task as I try to do my best. Anyway, so Windsor, Operation Windsor, the attack on Carpiquet, is said to be a prelude to Operation Charnwood, the final taking of Caen, eventually after all of the mess and everything it took for that to happen. Sorry, I'm just uploading this map here. So this is the map for the capture of Caen, right? That was Operation Charnwood and getting into the city. And you can see here Carpiquet on the left as our main topic today. So it's an interesting one. So it's often says a prelude to that, right? And in a negative way, all right? Why take this little chunk here? Because Operation Windsor is 4th, 5th of July. And as you can see here, Caen isn't captured until later. So why take this little chunk? And also it doesn't go well for the Canadians, the 8th Brigade, plus the attached units, particularly the Royal Winnipeg Rifles. It doesn't go to plan, and there's high casualties. So why? Why is that the case? So there's lots of people who've written on this. It's kind of unavoidable if you're talking about the Canadians in Normandy. The big names, I'm not going to go into them, but you know who they are. So many have argued that. This is disputed, and I think it's right to do so. One of them is watching today, which is amazing. Great support from Dave in all kinds of ways. So it's always good to have him watching. And if I make any mistakes, Dave, I'm sorry. Or if I misrepresent your work, please chime in. Tell me I'm wrong. So please do chime in with anything I miss. I'm just trying to get an overview of what I've kind of seen here and the research I did for the previous video that was deleted. Sorry, I should have said that at the beginning. So what I'm trying to do is taking what I have. Oh, sorry, my little word processor is poking in there. Take what I have. Also because of the whole finger thing. I came up with this idea yesterday afternoon. Want to do a test, see how it goes. So anyway, I think it's going to be an interesting format. So what I'm trying to do here is not necessarily do the whole overview, right? I'm not going to do like nitty gritty. I want to hit some details, take some questions, that kind of thing. But if you guys want nitty gritty, every detail in here for the next one, let me know and we'll go from there. But anyway, so So Dave Patterson's work, which I have linked in the description below, please read that when you get a chance. It's about 10 pages on a PDF, super fascinating. So much going on in this operation, and Dave's experience from seeing everything on the ground multiple times. I don't know how many times he's even been there. Hopefully he can tell us. It's probably a lot. But anyway, so read that article when you get a chance. I was going to say do it right after this, depending on how much time is left. But do watch World War II TV's episode 2. He's doing Animals at War. It's great stuff. Check that out when I'm finished. But do check out that article because it's really interesting. He lays out the battle itself, which is great, and kind of like an inlet in the article, which is amazing because he does a very good job of outlining it better than I can do here right now with one hand to type. But also lays out his argument and kind of the historiography part he plays in this from his experience on the ground. So it's fascinating. Also, Mark Milner, who all know I'm a big fan of and who's been on the channel, talks about this as well because of his book, which I've also linked below to buy, is the history of the North Shore Regiment from D-Day to Carpiquet. It's an amazing book. It's one of my favorites. I mean, I got to walk the ground that Mark literally talks about in this with him. So, I mean, I guess that's probably why it's got a special place in my heart. But this book is great, doing a, such an in-depth look at a unit for only a short period, right? It's about a month and then some. But this one I highly suggest, and it's a great read. And it's the one I can't do it today, but it's got the famous footage also, which I got in trouble from YouTube on the bottom here, right? You flip through it and it looks like the scene it's moving through. I forget what it's called, but anyway, you can buy it. There's links below to buy it, which also help the channel get a little bit of commission. It's hardly anything, but it helps a lot just to have anything at this point, to be honest. Anyway, so Mark also makes that point. So go back to Dave's article here. He's arguing that Windsor is not to support Charnwood really at all. He looks at the timeline of the orders of when everything's being developed, which is great. So that's really, really interesting part of this, right? He argues that just because one event follows another doesn't mean they're necessarily connected. He connects Operation Windsor to Operation Jupiter, an entirely different operation that takes place after Caen. So what we're seeing here, not the south part of Caen here on the other side of the river, but when the part of this is all done, Jupiter is to extend down. Why that's important, and I will click through here. Sorry, I'm going to have to move these around. This map is the best way to show it here. So you can see Carpiquet right here. Down south, this is why this is important. Because this is Operation Epsom, right, which is very well known, very well covered. Lots going on there. I'm not going to talk about Epsom today, but this is the map of Epsom that fails, right? They go and take Hill 112. They can't hold it from, determine German counterattacks, as again is German doctrine, counterattack and take it back. So anyway, it's an interesting part of this. Why it's important, and Dave again does a better job than I can right now in the article, is looking at this line literally here. It's a straight line almost, right? You can see from the high ground south of Carpiquet here, because the town, right, you have the little village, which is now part of Caen, but that is further distance on its own. The south here has a little bit of a high ground and this open flat area that you can see down here to Hill 112. Taking Hill 112 and, kind of cordoning off Caen here, you need to take this high ground to hold it. And because I just finished reading the article again. I've read it I don't know how many times the past 2 days. It's a great article. Saying he makes a perfect argument. He's a gunner. He would know, right? He was a very high-ranking gunner. With a map and binoculars, you've got that covered. So that's important here. It's not about necessarily Charnwood, and this might ruffle feathers, but that's kind of what I like to do, as you guys know. It's not about that. It's not necessarily about that part of taking Caen specifically, right? That little chunk that you saw in that previous map. It's about, this. It's about just supporting Jupiter, which, and Dave already said, so hold on, just give me a second here, is hardly mentioned, right? This is almost unmentioned. I didn't learn about Jupiter until going to the ground with both Mark Milner and Dave on the battlefield tour that I'm sure I talk about a lot. in 2016. I had no idea. So it's not talked about. I looked at Stacy, the official history, which is also linked below because I use that for research, and all the maps come from that. It's not really talked about, so it doesn't really fit in, right? Because Caen gets the attention, so it's a bit of a misnomer with all of this. So Dave makes an excellent argument saying just because stuff is in sequence doesn't mean that's how this always goes, right? Normandy isn't that simple. And again, I've made this argument myself. I'm not the first one. I take it from others, right? Is that just because Stacy wrote it doesn't mean it's the end all be all. Oh, hi, Lorelei. Thanks for coming in. Joe, sorry, people have joined late. Ian, thank you for coming. I'll just do a quick hello. Andreas, thank you. Susan's back, which is amazing. And I think that's everybody. So thanks, everyone, for joining me on this little kind of impromptu talk here. Well, not impromptu, but new. So we'll see how this is going. Anyway, so yes, Sheltrick is Dave. He talked about that on the channel before, so I can say it, and also other places. Anyway, so this is an interesting battle to look at. One of the reasons why I wanted to do that, because there's interesting footage, which is what I thought was okay to do on YouTube. It's not, apparently for monetization. It's not a copyright thing. It's a YouTube policy. Anyway, so hopefully I'm adding new value here. Anyway, so this is a really interesting one to me. It's small in the grand scheme of things in Normandy, I would say. Not that small. I mean, it's a brigade level attack, one of the first in this way, with units attached. So I'll get to that right now. And I'm going to come back in a second just to give a final thought. So we've got the North Shore Regiment. We'll see in a second. Queen's Own Rifles. The Regiment de la Chaudière of the 8th Brigade. And then also attached was the Royal Winnipeg Rifles from 7th Brigade. They were tasked with taking the hangars. And also 21 regiments of artillery. That's a big one because that's a big part of this. We had Mark Milner. I had Mark Milner on the channel talking about this, the importance of artillery in Normandy, the Canadian Royal 3rd Division, what it's doing. That kind of thing, stopping the panzers, literally, which they do. And this is them trying to take the offensive, right? So they're supported by artillery, tanks with the Fort Garry Horse, 3 squadrons from the 79th Division, the funnies, right, which everyone loves. So the flail tanks to clear mines, crocodiles, the flame-throwing Churchills, and petards with a big gun on the front to help clear obstacles, that kind of thing. So they had those attached as well. So that's a lot of firepower involved in this. And also, and I'll go back here. I want to grab some quick pictures because I think these photos are so striking. 2 squadrons of Typhoons as part of the attack. This is a photo from the attack. And I've cited it down below, or I haven't done it yet. I'll do it when I'm finished. I'm having trouble again typing. Is attack on the airfield here, right? They gave them attack the airfield and the adjacent buildings. Like, that's pretty easy target to hit, particularly because I've talked about the issue of communication and all that stuff in Normandy with air support. So there's that part of it, and attacking the buildings and everything like that. So this, again, is just a striking photo from it. You can literally see a rocket being launched here. It's really, really fascinating stuff. Also in support, it's already been mentioned. I forget where, up top maybe somewhere. I can't remember who. Maybe it was Ian. Mentioned HMS Rodney is being used in support. I think I might have missed the name of the other one. Sorry, ran out of time. So naval support as well. These big guns. I think Mark Milner mentioned on the tour outside Carpiquet, because his father, right, as has been talked about in his book, again, Stopping the Panzers, which is an amazing book. I should link that one down below too as well after. Anyway, he told us, the group, that his father remembers the attack on Carpiquet and these big guns firing. Just the noise and the shock of it landing. He said he just remembers seeing trucks flying in the air, tanks flying in the air, little dots flying, which are humans, from these guns hitting Carpiquet and around it. It's just, it's shocking how big what's going on here. Like, these big guns. These were, again, to soften up the target. As Dave mentions here, the fire plan is huge. It's a big one. Big one, right? Because they have the time to push forward and plan this. Again, Dave covers this really, really well in the article. So you might want to read that and get an idea of what he's talking about, because it's great. So real quick here, questions. Carpiquet, no, it was not operational. Even if it was, I don't know how it could have been, because it's so close, right? It's within range of the naval guns. I mean, yeah, there's that stereotype, that kind of joke that the Luftwaffe is not involved in Normandy, right? Which is not true, right? There is involvement, but they're further back, right? It's that longest day, right? The German, the Luftwaffe has made its appearance for D-Day, that kind of thing, which that movie has influenced how people think about Normandy generally for a long time. Anyway, so it's no, it's not. It's more about, like I said, it's not about making the airfield. I mean, taking it out of German hands, using it. I mean, Dave talks about that too, right? Because there's that argument, right? They need airfields to, they need the space. They need airfields to support further land. And Dave makes the point that this has already happened, right? They don't need Carpiquet as an airfield. They've already started building them. Just build their own, right? That's the Allied way here. We can't, taking a harbor is very difficult, as the EP shows. Bring our own, right? The Mulberries. We'll bring two. One gets destroyed, right? The American one gets destroyed off the American beaches, causing delays. And the attack on Carpiquet is one of them. But it's just that kind of thinking, right, of why does this attack happen and it didn't need to, kind of thing, which is just not the case. And I do believe Mark and Dave on this one, because, again, I've seen the ground myself. And, again, the timing for other things doesn't line up. Question about naval support. I think this is the map here. Marks and Sparks is talking about... I think Carpiquet is the extent. I could be wrong. If anyone's watching knows, but again, it gets an arrow in here, right? So 16-inch gun support in these environs might be more difficult because they are impressive, but the accuracy can sometimes be difficult, especially if someone's in the wrong place. I'm not sure, but I think this might be the extent of the range. If I'm remembering correctly. Again, I'm not a naval expert really much at all, trying to get better with the Navy stuff. I'm not entirely sure what the range is, but I do remember just Mark talking about it in the book and to me, and as part of that tour group, that the guns were hitting Carpiquet. So anywhere along here, I guess, this kind of arc might be the extreme limit, might be the one that they're just wanting to use because they don't want to have their own troops blown apart by these 16-inch guns. I'm not entirely sure. Again, that's an area I need to work on and understand more, is the naval support for this, because I've talked about this other parts of the channel about naval support and that thing. So again, we're people on who know way more about this than I do to understand it. Okay, so going back to the airfield real quick. Good photo to use. Okay. So sorry, just do these in order here. The airfield was used from 1940. But again, the work up to D-Day that Dave's talking about here, they moved them further away just because they're getting hit so much, right? They're hitting airfields all the time, up to the lead up, right? And after. So it's just, it's not feasible to keep using it because it's so close. Right, it's in range, and we just got the answer here to the naval stuff, which makes sense. So maybe that's what I was thinking of is Belfast, right? The one that's still in the River Thames today in central London. It's at its range limit with the 6-inch guns, but the big guns, right, from these battleships and monitors are still able to fire south of Caen, which makes sense because I think it's coming back to me now. The push after Caen is taken, right, and the things that lead up to spring and Atlantic, all of that kind of thing. I think it still has a fair number of naval gun support, right? So that's really, really interesting. That's really, really cool. Yeah, there you go. There's the answer right there. That's intense. That's really far south. It's outside the scope today, but that is like Operation Totalized territory we're talking about here. So that's intense. That's far. Like that's really, really intense. And there you go. I think that speaks volumes right there. Sorry, just give me 1 second here. Okay, so 1 second here. Just want to check something. Okay, so I think that covers the historiography. If I'm missing something, Dave, please let me know. Yeah, just go again on the Navy stuff here. Andres is talking about visiting Belfast before COVID. I haven't. I've been to London, I don't know how many times now, and I still haven't gone. I probably should. Maybe next time. But yeah, it's involved and supports the Canadians a number of times, I believe. So anyway, here's the attack on Carpiquet and the airfield itself. So, sorry, I'm still catching up here. 18 miles max range of Rodney's guns, so says Wikipedia. Yeah, I'm not sure. I'm sure there's naval experts out there that can answer that, no problem. Maybe we can ask some of the other historian YouTubers what they think about this kind of stuff, because they know the naval stuff better than I do. Anyway, so the attack on Carpiquet itself. So I'm just going to leave this up here for a bit now, and I have some pictures after the fact that I'll show, and I'll probably have to toggle back and forth. Anyway, so here you can see it right at the top, the North Shore Regiment, which I said, like Mark Milner has written about because of his New Brunswick connection. Queen's Own Rifles. They attacked later. They don't attack as part of the first wave here. That's the North Shore Regiment and the Regiment de la Chaudière from Eastern Quebec are here, and then the attached battalion from the Winnipeg Rifles, the Little Black Devils, as they are nicknamed, are given the objective of the North Hangars. Queen's Own Rifles are given the objective of the South Control Buildings, as they're called. Oh no, sorry, I got this mixed up. I always do this every time I do. Sorry, let me start that again. The Royal Winnipeg Rifles are given the hangars, as you can see here on the map, the South Hangars. Queen's Own Rifles are given the control buildings here, whereas the Chaudière are given the North Hangars. There, I think I got that right this time. I did that last time too, or I did it on a live stream. I can't remember. It's always the same. Get mixing up here. Anyway, so the attack itself is absolutely brutal. As you can kind of see here, this is flat open ground that I was talking about earlier. They have to cross about a mile of open ground. It's a lot. It's flat. It's open. Like, I know I'm going to keep saying that, but it's just so striking how much it is. There's nowhere to hide. And Mark Milner, again, in his book, is talking about how this is like a First World War thing, right? Artillery barrage. You have to lean into that barrage, keep pace with it as it moves forward, right? That's what they had designed to do for this attack. The problem is the German guns. So this is an open area, and they just get slaughtered. Focus on the North Shore because that's what I focused on in the video. Because of Mark's brilliant book. But it's really, really, really bad. They suffer so many casualties. So Dave uses this quote. Mark uses this quote. I think anyone who writes on attack on Carpiquet uses it. So it comes from Major A.E. Anderson, company commander, A Company of the North Shore Regiment, wrote down what it was like. So I'll just read that out real quick. I am sure that at some time during the attack, every man felt he could not go on. Men were being killed or wounded on all sides, and the advance seemed pointless as well as hopeless. I never realized until the attack at Carpiquet how far discipline, pride of unit, and above all, pride in oneself and family can carry a man, even when each step forward meant possible death. It was so bad that the North Shore Regiment, and the history of the regiment, written, the official one, I guess you can call it, or the one commissioned by the regiment, calls Carpiquet the graveyard of the regiment. So I think that speaks volumes here. Okay. Sorry, I just saw Dave's comment here about the control buildings because I was talking to Dave Patterson about some of this area, and I'll get to that in a second. But I guess they're condos now, Normandy condos, right? It's like everywhere else; everyone's building condos. Anyway, so this advance is absolutely brutal. The regiment de Jair has a difficult time as well. Because why? Because the Germans hit them with artillery as soon as the advance begins, and they are caught in the open. Artillery, rockets, the moaning mimes, the Nebelwerfer, if I'm saying that correctly, probably not. It's bad. I can't you have to read the books to kind of get those kind of sorry, what I'm saying, or the descriptions and everything that is better written because you can get it and understand it all connected here. So you can see here what kind of happens, right? The North Shore advances in. What's supposed to happen is the Queen's Own Rifles is supposed to advance behind and move in and then go to the control buildings, as can be seen on the map. And the Chaudière comes and takes the hangars, right? And then move on up to establish a defensive position. And also, the MG's machine gun fire also causes all kinds of casualties. It's almost like when I've talked to David O'Keefe on the channel about this, right? That, the attack of Barrier Ridge and just the machine guns mowing them down. It's kind of the same thing here. But you throw the rockets and artillery into this and it just causes huge amounts of casualties. Does a real number on the 8th Brigade. But on the Royal Winnipeg Rifles, right? They don't have a good day either, as you can see. They're all going backwards, right? They have their objective, and they make it, but they can't hold it. Because the Germans, who put in the description here, the 12th SS, right? The unit that the Canadians are running into the most here in this sector particularly, and who do all kinds of nasty things to the Canadians, which some people don't like hearing about over and over again, but I don't care. Murdering Canadians in Normandy in huge numbers. Did an article about this in the Juno Beach for the Juno Beach Center on their website. It's just the numbers are shocking. How many die in the early stages of the battle in Normandy for being just outright, murdered. And I say murdered because it's not an execution. Executions, put some sort of legality on this, which I think is another thing. Here's a rabbit hole for you. Yes, it's the 12th SS Hitler Youth Jugend Division, or the Panzer Division, Hitler Youth. Yeah. Sorry, I'm getting distracted by the comments. Anyway, yeah. So this is who they're up against. So they're fanatical. I think that's putting it mildly. They hardly surrender. They fight to the end. In so many cases, this is one of them. A famous one will be Falaise, the town itself. They're holed up in a school. They have to literally, burn them out. As I mentioned, the funnies, that has to happen here too. Sorry about that. Hit the wrong part on my mouse. My bad. 1 second. I'm going to get everything back up. My mouse has the backward forward for the channel things. For going back in pages, I really should turn that off. It's not the first time I've done that. First time I'm doing it on a live stream, though. So good for me. Things get weird. Anyway, so, talking about the buildings. So hold on here. I'm just going to pull back up my notes after my computer went crazy. So, as I mentioned, right, the initial attacks, some of them go well. Well, in the circumstances, not as great as they had hoped with the high number of casualties. Anyway, so they get in, the town is taken, the village is taken. The Queen's Own Rifles attack on their objective doesn't even take place because of the German counterattacks. Because of the ferocity of those, and that's again German doctrine, right? Attack quickly, as fast as possible, so your enemy can't get established, right? And because the rifles fall back, so it's like everything just keeps going wrong here, right? The town is difficult to take after the high number of casualties. Counterattack happens. The Winnipegs can't hold the position, fall back, so they dig in, and the Germans hit them hard. really, 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 really hard, which, they hold on, which is the amazing part right here. They hold on to this position here, right? This is kind of what the Chaudière objective here, moving forward, dig in and hold, which is what they do. They are, smashed against these counterattacks from the 12th SS over and over and over again. It happens constantly. So yeah, it's a lot. So for the 2 days of fighting, it's, again, there's always difficulty with these things, particularly with Normandy and what you count and all of that stuff. And the historiography part adds to all of this. Is there's 377 casualties, but also the German casualties are not as well known, but Mark Milner estimates around 340, but he thinks it's much, much higher. A whole bunch of things playing into this with historiography and misunderstandings and deliberately trying to, fudge some numbers. Again, read it in the book. If you haven't, the book isn't very big, right? Like, it's a tiny one in comparison to, say, like the official history or something like that, or some of the tomes out there that are great. But this is action-packed and amazing and so well researched. I can't stress that enough. Anyway, he talks about that in there, so he can give you a better understanding on that than I can at this particular juncture. But it's something worth thinking about in terms of this. Like, what are the casualties? When are they taken? All that kind of stuff. So I was talking to David O'Keefe just before this. And he, hold on, sorry, I'll throw it around here. He suggested this map. I think he told me it's from the Juno Beach Center, crediting them with it. So this shows an overlay and talking about the control buildings and what had to be done to get them out. They had to burn them out with those crocodiles. And I'm sure a few wasps were involved as well to get them out. And you can see the battle damage from the newsreel that I had initially made the video with, that I had to take down. Link that down below. So check that out as well. You can see that. So you can see some of the fighting, not very much, because again, it's hard to do combat footage, and there's very bits and pieces, but some of it's there, but it's mostly about the aftermath, POWs, that kind of thing. So check that out. And just the smash nature of what's left of this area. But anyway, so he really highlighted this because he'd seen them, because he had to get permission to go see them. We're not sure if they're still part of the French base, air base. Dave was talking about how the other side is condos now. I'm not sure about this side, but that's what he was wanting me to talk about here, because he's been there when he was doing the filming for his War Junk series, I think is what it was for. He said he was filming, he didn't say what it was for exactly. But anyway, I think this is a real striking photo, and the overlays are always great to see, but also shows how squished everything is, right? Because the Abbaye d'Ardenne is just up here. So it's an interesting one as well. Also where the murders take place. So this is one of the photos, and also there's footage of this. This is machine gunners, heavy machine gunners Vickers. Shout out to Rich Fisher there. Supporting the attack on Carpiquet from a hedge here. It's used a lot. It's a great photo. They're from, did I say the Ottawa unit, Cameron Highlanders? Which are still around. Yeah, great Highland regiment in the city I now live in. So yeah, it's a cool picture, and there's footage of it as well. I think it's in the newsreel link below. I can't remember if there's two of them. I'll have to double check, but I linked one for sure below. If not, for watching this later, double check and link the other if I'm missing that part. And this is from Library and Archives Canada. Everything will be linked below. This is just a POW taken during the fighting. I believe this is a member for the Chaudière here and behind. Actually, hold on. I do have it written down. Sorry, 1 second. Oh, I didn't write it down. Oh, yeah, no, there's a member of the Chaudière. Yeah, for sure. That name is very French. So it's just a POW taken here. And this is moving through after the fact. This is Carpiquet village itself, so they're coming through with the. You can see the universal carrier here, and then a 6-inch gun, anti-tank gun. Not 6-inch. Yeah, 6-pounder. Sorry, brain fog there for a second. 6-pounder anti-tank gun coming through afterwards. I just think it's a really cool photo to show after the fact, because there's nothing really from the fighting, but it's a really cool one. Yeah, that's a really interesting one. So that's it. I'm going to go back here to the attack map, because I think there's one thing I wanted to mention. Sorry, 1 second. Bear with me. Thanks everyone for sticking through in numbers, because this is great. I'm enjoying this immensely. If you are, let me know as well, please, if you're enjoying this. Sorry, I think I just missed something here that I really thought was important. No, got the quote. So, okay, yeah, this is the part I missed when I was talking about the historiography, but I think it's worth reading. It's from Dave again, and you'll see it in the article. But it launches into something that I wanted to finish up with. Again, if there's questions, fire away. So this is in connection to the historiography, which will launch into the last part I want to talk about as well. So Dave wrote, the operations of the 3rd Division have been examined and re-examined almost since they occurred. Some say that it has been studied to death and that Stacy wrote the definitive account. This is now me talking. This is not the only thing that Stacy has said to wrote the definitive account of. Came across it in my own work with Hong Kong. He did not write the definitive account. Back to Dave. So why continue to rake the coals of Normandy? The answer lies in the evolution of thought about this relatively minor battle in the Grand Campaign. Carpiquet teaches us to look beyond the bounds of national historiography and examine the context of the Canadian action within the Allied coalition. I couldn't say that better myself in any way, shape, or form. I've said this before, and I'll say it again. It's like the Captain Hold Me. You've heard it before, you'll hear it again. Normandy, we don't understand it as well as we could. I'm not the only one saying this. There's elements that we don't understand. There's things we think we understand are in our myths. That's a whole other thing. I think Woody's going to do some great work with that new series he's coming up with, talking about myths and Normandy and that kind of thing. There's parts we don't fully understand. Carpiquet is one of them. We don't get it. People don't see the ground. You can still go see it. You can still understand it. This is Dave's point. The ground is a primary source. We need to do that better. This is something I've taken to heart and what I do now. I'm trying to go to as many places as I can, write about them, go see them, write about them after the fact, or do a video or what have you. This is huge, but it's huge for Normandy. You got to understand this ground. You can't understand what's going on here unless you get the ground. Carpiquet is a perfect example of this, not only for the attack part, but why it exists. Right? Why does it happen? High ground is very important at this part of the train of the Canadian sector, or whatever you want to call it. It's hugely important. So that is massive. And the historiography part, I can't not talk about as an academically trained historian. Right? The historiography is we so insulated in Canada thinking about this. We don't think about how this works in concert with everybody else. You know, that is hugely problematic. We need to think about how this all fits together. I say this with the First World War. I say it with this, right? The Canadian units are part of this. They're not separate. They're not doing this alone. We need to understand how these pieces slot together. We need to go and pass and think about, you know, that this isn't just Canadians acting alone as a concert. We need to understand that these are divisions working together. Who cares where they start from? We need to understand that they're working together to fight the Germans. We can't just move past that. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't work. This is why we miss things. Like, this is why things are said things are certain ways, and it's just wrong. This is a huge part of this. Now, one of the things I did with the video and why I thought it was important to have it connected, because it was kind of it came to me while watching it to prepare, right? Because I used to go through the newsreels, which I won't be doing anymore, unfortunately, for videos. Not on YouTube anyway. If anyone has any suggestions, actually, where I can put stuff, maybe that won't have such an issue. Another platform, maybe, where I can put these things, because I think they're important to be said together, right? I don't want to get in trouble again by not having it here, right? Because I need to get that monetization, because I'm so close. Like, next month, I can probably do it if they're happy with everything I've done. Anyway, if any suggestions of where I can put those videos where everything is put together, that'd be great. If you can let me know down below, especially after. Anyway, so the newsreel makes it, and again, why? It's a wartime newsreel. I get it. You don't want to say, hey, we kind of took our objectives, right? It's not good. But these sources exist into the future, right? They're still out there. It's on YouTube, easily findable, all that kind of stuff. Oh, yeah, TikTok. Craig, thanks for the suggestion. And Patreon. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'll just do that. I'll put them on Patreon. So if you want to see these things that are all these copyright nonsense, I'll put everything up there. So if you're a patron, look forward to that. You want to get access to that, I'll put it up there. Maybe I'll try to find it free later, but a Patreon, I think I have an idea on what I can do. Anyway, maybe I'll talk about that more towards the end. So sorry, the newsreel. I go down the rabbit holes, but I'm sure you guys love it. Makes it sound like it's a much more successful attack than it is, right? You can watch it after. It's not, right? But this still exists. This is how people who might put in Carpiquet into YouTube, which has become a search engine in and of itself, right? Most people, if a certain age group, use YouTube as a search engine. If any of them become interested in, say, the Battle of Normandy and the Canadian stuff, they plug in Carpiquet, and that's the only thing that comes up. That's what they think is going to happen. Right? That was great. It was all amazing. That's not what happens. They leave some things out. They kind of lie by omission here. Sorry, we're getting, I gotta get rid of these comments. Must be making the big time now that the bots have found us. Yeah, so it's important, right, to have a rebuttal to these things. Books and everything, again, Woody talks about this all the time, and I agree with him 100%. A lot of people don't read them anyway, or the articles and stuff. I link them for those who are interested, but this is their only way they're getting the information. Not that that's a bad thing. I think it's a good thing. I think that's the way it's going to go. That's why I did this, right, to present this information that I learned as an academically trained historian in a way that people will engage with. And you guys are already doing that, which is amazing. It's amazing that we're able to do this, but you need to have counters to all the information that's out there and missing, right? I said that News Bureau kind of lies by omission. They don't, doesn't claim that they took all their objectives on time, but it doesn't also talk about the real results. And again, the airfield, as we can go back here to where we started, right? Coming full circle, isn't taken until later, as you can see here, right? A couple days later. And that's kind of where Dave uses his launch point for his article and why I wanted to start like this. It's, well, why bother? What's the point? The point is, it's not about Caen. It's about Operation Jupiter. So I think that's a good place to end for my kind of comments on that. So yeah, the footage misses a lot. It doesn't, wartime censorship, I get it. But it's still a document that's out there, primary source, whatever you want to call it, out there that people can see easily. I think it's got like 100,000 views or something. And then you put in Carpiquet, comes right up because that's what it did. So it's interesting. I'm not talking about you, Joe. There were some other bots. I know you're not a bot, Joe. I know. Anyway, so I think we got some questions here. So let me go back. I might have missed some. Okay, we had a question. D-Day pics of the Regiment de la Chaudière. Hold on, I'll just go back to this video. Oh, the headbands. Yeah, I don't think that's the Chaudière. But I think Dave answered that. Yeah, they're the beach groups. They're not assault troops. It's not them, as far as I know. Again, I did that research for some videos I had to delete. The beach groups, right? So those are helping clear stuff, clear lanes, get things out of the way, help the troops move inland. Those are the beach groups. They're not engineers, but they act like engineers in a way. None of the heavy duty stuff, because that's the actual engineers are doing that. But yeah, that's as far as I know. And this is just a comment about the Jim Parks, who was there. Yeah, about the intensity of it. I mean, that's what Mark Milner was trying to convey to us, that his father, just talking about that intensity of this. It's hard to imagine if you haven't seen something like that. Yeah, Manitoba hailstorm. Yeah, it's got some names because of just the ferocity of what they endured, and just how they got hit so bad, and because of the Winnipeggers, right, out of Manitoba. Okay, where do we've got here? So from Marks and Sparks, thanks for the question and watching all the time. I really appreciate it. Okay, regards to progress, 3rd Division to this time. When does Crear begin to lose faith in? It's Rod Keller. It's not Ralph Keller, I don't think, unless Rod's a nickname. Is it Ralph? I don't think so. Anyway, it's that's a good question. That's a really good question, actually. I don't know, because I haven't done like the intense, look at the, the primary documents and the letters back and forth about these guys. I've only done the reading about it. There's a lot of, I honestly think Keller gets a bad rap. And I think the Valor and the Horror is part of that, how we understand that now. Because that Normandy episode, he's just literally presented as a drunk. I mean, I think he's suffering from some sort of trauma response. So I don't know if it's necessarily even Criar that has the issue. Simmons has an issue with him for pretty much the whole time. But again, I haven't done the primary research. Sorry, again, it's that academic historian in me, right? Yeah, the secondary sources are amazing, but I don't want to be like, oh, it's because of this, because that could just be one historian's view of that, right? That's why I tend not to have an answer unless I've seen the documents myself, because there's a few I've seen, and, here and there. Yeah, it's Rod. Some of these guys, because they have different names, right? But it is Rod Keller. Yeah, I don't know if that's his proper name. I think it is. It should be. Some of them have different names. It gets confusing. Right. Anyway, so yeah, I'm not too entirely sure. But after this, it's definitely taking a toll on Keller, I think. But it's not until much later that they kind of lose faith completely and have him replaced. But that's before that, because you have the initial attacks inland, right after the landings, and then they purposely hold up, right, to do the Monty battle. I'm not going to talk about Monty today. Other than that, build up and get ready, right? That's what they did, and that's what happens with Charnwood. I mean, there's little operations and everything that Epsom that fails that we discussed. Yeah. Yeah, that's another part of Dave's article. And this historiography kind of understanding of it is because he's having issues with all of that. And yeah, Keller gets the blame for not taking on more of this himself. He pushes it down to the brigade level. Some are saying that they didn't have the resources to handle this with the extra units, especially, and managing all that artillery. But Dave talks about that much better than I can. Yeah, so I don't think I'm missing anything. If you have any questions, still fire away. Just getting close time for Woody's show, so I don't want to run into his time because I want you guys to go watch that. But yeah, moving forward with the historical stuff, because I still have those videos saved on my computer, right? I just deleted them off YouTube. I still have them. I can put them back up somewhere else. Patreon doesn't really let you upload videos very easily. I'll have to check that out, see what I can do. They're pretty short, so it might be okay. Yeah, it's part of my kind of, I guess I can end on this, is my philosophy here that this stuff should be available. My work is not, I don't like paywalling it. I don't paywall it. I give early access to patrons and things like that, or thoughts of what I'm going to do, and then I share those later on, or the video itself, whatever. So I'm kind of cagey not to do that. I'll think about it. Maybe I'll do them on Patreon first and then release them again somewhere else later. They're not available to anybody right now, right? So that's more problematic, I think. All that work I did and all that insight and telling these stories is behind nothing now. It's gone. I had to delete it so I didn't get in trouble, as I keep saying, it's not trouble, but so I can make a buck or two, which would be nice, so I can keep doing this. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't really think I have anything else, just some more interesting comments here, and I agree. Yeah, I think that's a good point about from David O'Keefe. Nothing wrong against Stacey. A few of his interpretations, even at the time, were a bit lacking. But it has nothing to do with talent, but march of time and new resources. 100% agree. We need a new victory campaign or a new Canadian and Normandy. Canada and Normandy, whatever. Someone needs to take that on. I can understand why nobody has. It's not easy for all kinds of reasons. Money is probably a big one. And time and effort. It's just not easy. Yeah, so let me know what's going on. If you guys like these, I can do more. I've got other videos I had to delete. More I can put together and put more time into it too to kind of give a better overview. Hopefully this is a good overview. If anything, it's introducing you to sources that you can use if you're Googling. If you come here later after the live stream and put in Battle of Carpiquet or whatever, looking at Charnwood, 3rd Canadian Division, hopefully it gives you some insight into some stuff with these books and everything. So it's a really interesting thing to look at in this way, and some great comments on the sidebar, which won't be up until later because I don't think the initial upload has them. They come up later. If I'm remembering correctly, I think it takes a day literally for the bar on the side to come up, which is great because it's got its own information in here too. Oh yeah. Hey everyone, come in late. I know it's late. I kind of did this. I wasn't sure if I wanted to do it after kind of Woody stuff or before. I thought before would be better because my finger will be throbbing by then. Act distracted by the pain. So I wanted to get it in before that happens. Excuse me. Yeah. So these are some great points that I'm going to look at the comments after. probably tomorrow, about the whole idea of looking at this story again, a group of authors. I think that's a great idea. Yeah, so other than that, thanks for watching. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe, like the video, share when you can. Even if you aren't new, please share. Sharing all the time always helps me. On Twitter, social media, anytime you see it, please just hit that retweet. It does more help. Even if you don't think you have a lot of followers, it doesn't matter. If this builds momentum, it builds momentum. So please do that. That's how the algorithm works on social media, right? It's all about all that stuff. So please do that. It's extremely helpful. A lot of you already here are patrons, but if you are new or aren't a patron, please consider doing so, especially if I do those videos up on Patreon first. I'm not sure. I have to look at that and think about it. And the pain in my fingers coming back. So maybe it's a good time to end. So please, I do keep saying this, but the Patreon is the only thing that'll help me at this point for bringing in an income. It's not very much. I have a goal set on the Patreon page. If I can hit that, I think I can be in a better position to do this almost full time, which would be amazing. If I can keep doing this with that, that'll be very helpful. I can do these all of the time. So if you enjoyed something like this, or you want to do other live streams with if you love watching those, right, with other people, I can do those more. I can, organize more of those all the time. The reason why I'm not doing as many as I can is because of that. This is a timing issue and other things and all of that. If I have to take another full-time job, if I have to take a full-time job somewhere else, I can't do this numbers anymore. It won't even be close. It'll be like one thing a month probably, if that. So if you can help, please do. If you enjoy this, please help in what you can. Sharing, watching, liking, commenting is, if you can't help financially, that is a big help. Retweeting, sharing on Facebook, anywhere is so helpful. I can't stress that enough. So please consider that. But the Patreon right now is big. It's really helping me keep my head above water. I'm about here. It's above the water, but I'm still above. So if any more you can help, that would be amazing. So thanks for watching. Go watch World War II TV right now. They've set up some new thing that you can do that. I don't know how to do that yet. You can literally, it would send you right there. It's a new thing, but maybe I'll do that for the future. If this does well and I can do these before World War II TV, I can send you right off. So yeah, so here's so please become a patron. Oh, I forgot to do the banner with all my patrons. I do. So thank you so much. I'll just let this run while I kind of waffle at the end here. But leave, you can go now. Nothing else that's pertinent to this. Please go join World War II TV. I think you got a few minutes. I just want to let my Patreons run so I can show my appreciation and support that you give for me. It means the world to me. The nice comments, the things like you guys sending me books. Like I got a book yesterday from Susan, and that was just amazing. That was just so uplifting. The day after, I'd sliced my finger open, and YouTube didn't go well, and other work wasn't going so great. So it was a big pick me up. I really appreciate it. So thank you so much. You guys are becoming like this great core group of people that I didn't know was even possible to have supporting me. Not even just monetarily, because there's other people I would include in this group of people who just help and support and give me pick-me-ups and help me and all of that stuff. So it's so great to have. I can't express my gratitude enough. I don't think I'll ever be able to, because it's so great. So thanks again, Susan. That book, I already told you this privately on Twitter, that it meant the world getting that book, especially because I slept in because I felt like garbage. Yeah, sorry, and this is a good point, Sheldrake here. I can't do that. That's part of the monetization. So once I get that, I can have that as well. I can't do that right now. They won't let me. That's part of it. So I need to get there. So I need hours, right? Like I need people to watch the old videos as well. That's another thing you can do to support. Watch the old videos. It's a big one. Like get me those hours. Right. Like it's amazing that I get the support I do. I've had some tips from Woody on how to get more viewers, and it is working. If you can, just let them run. If you have unlimited internet, you're not using it anyway, right? If you're just sitting around the house or whatever, just let it run. It helps. But also watch them again, because some of them are so good. People are mentioning coming to Canada. Do it. I will be your tour guide. Come to Ottawa. We'll think of something. Maybe we can talk about that on the Patreon page or whatever. Anyway, I would love to have a group come in and we all hang out or something. That would be so amazing. But anyway, we can talk about that. So anyway, go World War II TV. I'm going to jump off now, so you have no choice. But go watch World War II TV, talking about pigeons in the Second World War, not World War I, World War II. That's going to be a funky one. So go check that out, everybody. All right. I'll see you next time, and keep tabs on everything when I talk about the next thing I'm going to do. Okay. So thanks again, everyone, for support, and have a good rest of your day. Now go watch World War II TV.